Picture this. You wake up and your world is exactly how you want it. No chasing, no begging, just a calm, unshakable confidence that makes others gravitate toward you. People admire you, they dream about you, fear losing you, and feel lucky just to be near you. And the best part? You're not trying. You're not bending over backward to impress anyone. They are the ones chasing you. They're hooked, wondering what you're thinking, desperate to be a part of your life. When you walk into a room, heads turn. Your presence commands attention without effort. Conversations flow like magic. There's an undeniable chemistry around you, a pull they can't resist. You've become the person they can't stop thinking about, the one they dream of, the one they fear slipping through their fingers. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. This life is real. But here's the kicker. It's only possible when you stop trying to make people like you. That's right. The harder you try, the more invisible you become. If you're chasing, pleading, or sacrificing your dignity to stay on someone's radar, you've already lost. They'll never miss what they feel they own, and right now, you're handing yourself to them on a silver platter. Let's pause for a moment. Be brutally honest. Where are you right now? Are you sitting around, obsessively checking your phone, waiting for a reply that never comes? Are you twisting yourself into someone else's idea of perfect, thinking that if you're kind, patient, and always available, they'll finally realize your worth? You've told yourself that if you just try harder, if you give more, love more, sacrifice more, they'll start craving you, right? Wrong. They won't. In fact, every time you lower your standards, sacrifice your boundaries, or give too much of yourself, you become less valuable in their eyes. That's not how attraction works. People don't value what they get for free, and right now, they're not thinking about you, not even a little bit. You're not on their mind. You've given them everything without asking for anything in return, and that's why they've taken you for granted. It's time to wake up. You've been living in a fantasy where you believe that effort equals love. But the truth is, love and respect come when you make them earn a place in your life. You want to flip the script, make them miss you, make them fear losing you. Then stop giving yourself away so easily. You need to shift the focus back to yourself. Stop begging for attention and start reclaiming your energy. The secret lies in an ancient philosophy that's more relevant now than ever: Stoicism. Legends like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus mastered the art of detachment, and that's exactly what you need to do right now. Here's the truth. The moment you stop chasing is the moment they start noticing. When you stop needing them, they start needing you. When you pull back, they feel the space. And that space makes them realize how much they took you for granted. It's human nature to want what feels scarce and valuable, not what's always available. Let me say it loud and clear. Begging is beneath you. Chasing is beneath you. You're not here to prove your worth to anyone. You already matter. The only person who needs to believe that is you. Ask yourself this: how many more times will you let yourself shrink just to fit into someone else's life? How long will you keep begging for scraps of attention when you could be commanding the whole feast? It's time to break the cycle. You don't need to explain yourself, beg for validation, or prove your value. Your worth is not tied to someone else's recognition, and the sooner you realize that, the faster you'll start living the life you deserve. A life where you are chased, admired, and valued. From this moment forward, things are going to change. Say it out loud. I will no longer beg for attention. Write it down. Type it in the comments. Let it sink into your soul. You're done playing small. You're done bending your life to fit someone else's story. From now on, they're going to have to chase you. This is your turning point. You're not the sidekick. You're the main character. You're the one who gets to decide who stays in your life and who doesn't. The people who don't see your value, let them go. If they don't appreciate you now, they never will. And that's okay, because you're not here to be everyone's favorite. You're here to be respected. Here's what happens next. You stop reaching out first. You stop checking in. You stop making yourself available at the drop of a hat. You don't need to announce it, explain it, or justify it. You just do it. Slowly, they'll start to notice. They'll wonder why you've changed. They'll feel the void your absence creates. And that's when they'll start chasing, because they'll finally realize they don't own you. This isn't about playing games. This is about shifting the power back into your hands. Detach. Pull your energy back. Focus on yourself, your growth, your goals, your happiness. You don't need to punish anyone or act cold. Just stop handing over your power. This is what the Stoics understood. Peace, happiness, and self-worth come from within. Nothing external, no person, no relationship should define who you are. The only approval you need is your own. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. So stop reacting to them. If they ignore you, fine. You're too busy living your life to care. If they pull away, let them. You won't chase. When you stop giving them your energy, you take back control of your story. And that's when everything changes. When they see that you're no longer dependent on their attention, they'll start craving yours. They'll wonder what's different, why you're not as available, and they'll begin to miss what they took for granted. But here's the key. You're not doing this to make them miss you. You're doing this for you. You're reclaiming your time, your energy, and your self-respect. This is your moment. Say it again. You have to see my worth. Not because you need them to, but because you're declaring it to the world, and most importantly, to yourself. It's time to let go of the people who don't see your value. It's time to stop waiting for someone to recognize your worth. You're done shrinking. You're done begging. You are valuable just as you are, and anyone who doesn't see that isn't worth your time. This is your life. You decide the rules. And from now on, you live by one simple truth. If they want to stay in your world, they'll have to earn it. No more chasing, no more begging, just living fully and unapologetically as the person you were always meant to be. So hit the like button under this video, and if you're with me, type it in the comments. I see my worth. Let it be known that from this moment forward, you are done waiting for approval. You are done seeking validation. This is your life, your story, and you are the one in control. Number 1. The power of Stoic detachment. I get it. Detaching isn't easy. You're emotionally invested. You've poured your heart into this, and the thought of pulling back feels terrifying. It feels like you're walking away from something you've put so much energy into. But here's what you need to understand. Detachment isn't about abandoning the relationship or pretending you don't care. It's about creating boundaries, reclaiming your emotional space, and stopping the cycle of sacrificing yourself for someone else. You've been giving so much of your energy, constantly reacting to their actions, letting them dictate how you feel. It's time to stop that. From now on, don't react. When they do something that would normally get under your skin, stop giving them that emotional reaction they're used to. It doesn't mean you're cold or uncaring. It means you're protecting your peace. You're no longer letting their actions have power over you. You're in control now. The moment you stop reacting to them, they'll feel it. They'll notice the change. It won't make sense to them at first, but that's part of the shift. You're reclaiming your space, your calm, your strength. Next, redirect your energy. All that attention you've been pouring into them, pour it into yourself. You've been so focused on making them happy, on making them notice you, that you've forgotten to nurture your own growth. Pick up a new hobby, dive into your career, work on your personal development. The more you invest in yourself, the less you'll feel the need for their validation. And guess what? They'll see it. They'll notice that you're no longer orbiting around them, and that's when they start to question their place in your life. You also need to pull back a little. I'm not telling you to ghost them or cut them off completely, but stop being so readily available. Stop being the one to always reach out first, to always make the plans, to always check in. Let them feel what life is like without you constantly in it. They won't feel your absence until you create some space for it. When you stop making yourself so accessible, that's when they begin to wonder, begin to miss what they had without realizing it. Imagine this. You're always the one texting first, always the one putting in the effort, always making plans. It's clear they don't appreciate it. So what do? You decide to detach. You stop texting all the time. You stop bending over backward to keep things going. Instead, you focus on yourself, on your own growth and happiness. And suddenly, they notice. They start asking why you're not as available, why you're not so eager. They begin to miss the attention, the validation, the effort that you were giving without them even having to ask for it. This is the power of Stoic detachment. Here's the truth. They won't miss you while you're still chasing them. But the moment you step back, the moment you reclaim your energy and stop needing their approval, that's when they'll feel the shift. When you stop needing them, they start needing you. It's not about pushing them away. It's about pulling yourself back. It's about creating space for them to realize what they're losing. And trust me, when they feel that absence, when they feel that space, they'll start to wonder. They'll start to miss you. Now, I won't lie to you. It's going to feel uncomfortable. At first, it'll feel like you're walking away from something you've invested a lot of time and emotion into. Your mind will try to convince you that if you pull back, you'll lose them. But here's the truth. If they drift away just because you stopped chasing, then they were never really yours to begin with. But if they start to notice, if they start to crave your presence, that's when you know the dynamic has shifted in your favor. Here's the key. This isn't about them. It's not about manipulating them into wanting you. It's about you. It's about taking back your power and realizing that your worth doesn't depend on anyone else's attention or validation. This is your story, and you are in control. You get to decide how you're treated, how you're valued. Detachment is not a game, it's a reclamation of your dignity and peace. Think of it this way. When you constantly throw your energy at someone, they feel overwhelmed and they pull away. But when you pull back, when you create that space, something magical happens. They're drawn to you, not because you're trying to be magnetic, but because you've reclaimed your power. They feel the shift in energy, and they can't help but notice. It's like a magnet. The less you push, the more they're pulled toward you. So, embrace this process of detachment. Stop living for their approval. Stop begging for their attention. You have nothing to prove to them. You are already whole, already valuable, and it's time they see that. But here's the thing. You're not doing this so they'll miss you. You're doing this because you deserve better. You deserve to be valued without having to fight for it. You deserve to be chased, not the other way around. This is just the first step in your transformation, the beginning of you reclaiming your life. And it all starts with you. It starts with knowing your worth, owning your power, and detaching from the need for anyone else to validate you. This journey isn't over yet. There's more to come, more to learn, but this is where it begins. Stop waiting for someone else to realize your value and start showing them you don't need their approval to thrive. If you're with me in this transformation, let it be known. Drop "I know my worth" in the comments. This is your declaration, not to them, but to yourself, that from this moment forward, you're done chasing, done begging, and done waiting. You are stepping into your power, and anyone who wants to be part of your life will have to rise to meet you. The journey starts now, and it's only going up from here. They'll notice. Trust me, they will. Number 2. The secret weapon. Become rare. Become irreplaceable. Here's the truth. What's always available never feels valuable. Think about it. If you had access to diamonds every day, everywhere you went, would they still feel special? Of course not. That's how value works. The rarer something is, the more we crave it. The harder it is to get, the more effort we'll put in to keep it. But right now, you've made yourself as common as a pebble, always available, always within reach. That's why they don't see you as a priority. And that's why it's time to change the game. The moment you realize this, everything shifts. You've been giving too much time, too much energy, too much of yourself, and they come to expect it. They assume you'll always be there, always ready, always trying. And guess what? The more they assume, the less they appreciate. They don't chase what's already theirs. That's human nature. If you want to become someone they crave, someone they fear losing, it starts by making yourself scarce. Scarcity is powerful. It flips the script. It makes you rare, like a gem they didn't realize was so valuable until it's suddenly out of reach. When you pull back and stop being constantly available, they'll feel it. It'll hit them like a cold wind, unexpected and uncomfortable. That's when the chase begins. Because suddenly, you're not just an option. You're the prize. And prizes aren't easy to get. This doesn't mean ghosting them or disappearing completely. It's not about games or manipulation. It's about resetting the dynamic and reminding them that your time and energy are not infinite resources. You're not there for convenience. You're not a background character in their life, waiting to be noticed when they have nothing better to do. You are the main character in your own story, and only those who understand that will get to be part of it. When you become less available, 2 things happen. First, they'll notice. They'll start wondering why you're not as present as you used to be. They'll miss the constant flow of attention and care you were giving them without them even having to ask for it. And second, they'll begin to work harder to get it back, because now there's uncertainty. Now you're not always there when they expect you to be. And that space creates desire. You might think that pulling back will push them away, but it doesn't work that way. When you become scarce, you spark curiosity. You make them wonder, what's changed? Why aren't you texting first? Why aren't you showing up like you used to? That mystery is powerful. It draws them in because people crave what they don't fully understand. Here's where most people get it wrong. They think being available all the time shows love and loyalty. But in reality, it just makes you predictable. And predictability kills attraction. They know exactly what to expect from you, and that kills the thrill. But when you become rare, when you stop being so easy to reach, they're forced to pay attention. They'll start to question what they did to lose your focus. And that's when they'll realize that your presence was never guaranteed. It was a gift. The beauty of scarcity is that it makes them value every moment they have with you. It's no longer something they take for granted. Every conversation, every interaction becomes precious because they know they don't have unlimited access to you anymore. And that's when you stop being just another option and become something extraordinary. This shift won't feel comfortable at first. You're used to being available, to always showing up, to giving without hesitation. Pulling back will feel strange. Your mind will tell you that you're being selfish or unkind. But you need to remind yourself that scarcity isn't about being cold. It's about setting boundaries. It's about protecting your energy and making sure that the people in your life appreciate it. You deserve to be cherished, not just noticed when it's convenient. And that only happens when people realize that your time is valuable, that your energy isn't given freely, and that access to you must be earned. Becoming scarce makes them work for you, and when they work for something, they value it more. Think of it like this. If you offer everything up front, there's nothing left for them to discover, nothing left for them to fight for. But when you pull back, when you keep a part of yourself guarded, they become intrigued. They start to wonder what's behind that door you've closed. And that curiosity, that's what keeps them hooked. Don't be afraid to create that distance. It's not about being distant for the sake of it. It's about creating space for them to see your true worth. If they care, they'll step up. If they don't, then they were never worth your time in the first place. Either way, you win. Because the people who truly value you will fight to keep you close. And those who don't, they'll fade away, leaving room for someone better. You are not common. You are not disposable. You are not someone who waits around for others to notice your worth. You are rare. And when you understand that, you become a gem, something precious, something worth chasing. Affirm it. I know my worth. You don't have to say it aloud or prove it to anyone else. Just know it, deep in your core. From this moment forward, you are no longer the one chasing. You are the one being chased. And trust me, they will notice the change. They always do. Number 3, mirror their actions to reveal the truth. Silence is not weakness, it's power. In a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, constantly explaining, defending, and reacting, the person who masters silence becomes magnetic. Silence speaks louder than words ever could. And if you know how to use it, you can shift any dynamic in your favor. Right now, you might feel the urge to explain yourself, to prove your point, to react when someone disrespects you. But the truth is, every time you react emotionally, you give away your power. When you stop reacting, people have no choice but to sit with their own thoughts. Silence forces them to reflect, to question, to wonder. It's unsettling, it's confusing. And that confusion, it's powerful. It pulls them toward you because they can't stand not knowing what's going on in your mind. They'll start chasing answers, chasing clarity, and ultimately, chasing you. Silence is not about being cold or distant. It's about learning when to engage and when to step back. When someone pushes your buttons, they expect a reaction. And every time you give them what they expect, you lose ground. But when you meet their actions with calm, deliberate silence, that's when the real power shift happens. They become the ones questioning what went wrong, not you. Imagine this. You're in the middle of a heated argument, and instead of defending yourself, you stay silent. No anger, no frustration, just calm, unshakable stillness. That silence does more than words ever could. It shows that you're not rattled, that your peace is untouchable. And that drives them crazy. They'll keep trying to draw you into their chaos, but you won't budge. That's how you show strength, not through words, but through control. When you stop explaining yourself, people are forced to confront the reality that you don't need their approval. They can no longer control you with their opinions or manipulate you with their expectations. Silence tells them, loud and clear, "I know who I am. I don't need you to confirm it." And that's a statement they can't ignore. The beauty of silence is that it creates mystery. It makes you unpredictable, intriguing. People are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand. When you become the person who doesn't always explain, who doesn't react to every slight, you become someone they can't figure out. And that's when they start working harder to earn your attention. This isn't about punishing anyone or playing mind games. It's about reclaiming your power. Silence shows that you value your peace over drama, that you won't waste your energy on things that don't serve you. It's about teaching people that your attention is a privilege, not a given. Affirm it. I know my worth. You don't need to speak it aloud. Your silence will say everything that needs to be said. When words fall short, silence will do the work. And trust me, they'll notice. They always do. And folks, we're almost halfway through this video, and if you're still with me, it means this message is resonating with you. So go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps push this message to others who need it too. And I encourage you to stick with me until the end, because today is the day we make some real changes. Stay locked in, accept this challenge to see it through, and let's finish what we started. Your breakthrough is just around the corner. Number 4, protect your peace. Your mind is your sanctuary, your heart a fortress. Not everyone deserves access to that space. If you've been giving people free entry into your emotions, your thoughts, and your peace, it's no wonder you feel drained. Your inner world is sacred. But too often, we let the wrong people in, hoping that by being open, by sharing everything, we'll create deeper connections. The truth? The more you give away without discretion, the more people take it for granted. Not everyone values your vulnerability. Not everyone deserves to know what's in your heart. When you learn to protect your inner world, everything changes. You stop being a dumping ground for other people's negativity. You stop allowing their opinions to define your worth. You build boundaries, not walls, but boundaries, and those boundaries send a clear message. My peace is not up for negotiation. This is not selfishness. This is survival. This is how you preserve your sanity in a chaotic world. People are drawn to those who guard their inner world with care. There's something magnetic about a person who isn't easily rattled, who keeps their calm no matter what. That kind of person radiates strength, and that strength is deeply attractive. When you become the person who controls what enters your emotional space, people notice. They sense that your energy is valuable and rare, and they crave it even more because they realize it's not freely given. Here's the thing. If you let everyone have access to your thoughts and emotions, they'll feel entitled to it. They'll come to expect you to be their emotional crutch, their sounding board, their source of validation. And over time, that takes a toll. You start to feel exhausted, disconnected from yourself, and resentful of others. That's why protecting your inner world is essential. It's not just about keeping others out. It's about keeping yourself whole. This shift won't be easy at first. You're used to being available, to opening up, to saying yes, even when your heart is screaming no. But every time you set a boundary, every time you protect your peace, you take back a piece of yourself. You remind yourself that your well-being is a priority, not an afterthought. And that's where real power lies. When you protect your inner world, something incredible happens. The right people will rise to meet you, and the wrong ones will fade away. Those who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries, while those who only wanted to take will disappear. And good riddance. The space they leave behind is a gift to yourself, a space for you to grow, to heal, and to thrive. Affirm it. I know my worth. You don't need to announce your boundaries to the world. Just live by them. Your peace, your energy, and your inner world are priceless. And those who see your value, they will respect it. Those who don't, they'll realize it too late. Trust me, they always do. Number 5. Break their patterns. People get comfortable when they think they know how you'll react. They expect you to be predictable, to respond the same way, to show up when they want, to do exactly what you've always done, and that comfort breeds complacency. They stop appreciating you because they assume you'll always be there, always available, always the same. But if you want to shift the dynamic, if you want them to start craving your presence, you have to do something bold. Break their patterns. This is where things get interesting. Every relationship, whether romantic, platonic, or professional, operates on patterns. Maybe you're always the one to text first, the one to fix things, the one who reaches out to make plans. They've grown used to that. They've built a mental map of who you are and how you behave, and they don't think twice about it anymore. But when you disrupt that pattern, even just a little, it sends a shockwave through their expectations. Suddenly, you're not the person they thought they knew, and that creates a powerful sense of intrigue. Breaking their patterns doesn't mean you have to cut people off or act distant for no reason. It's about changing how you show up. If you've always been the one to initiate, stop. Let them wonder why you're not reaching out. If you're usually quick to respond, take your time. If they expect you to agree with everything they say, challenge them. It's about keeping them on their toes, forcing them to rethink their assumptions about you. And when people have to rethink, they start paying attention. This shift is subtle, but the impact is massive. When you break their patterns, they feel unsettled. They notice that something is different, and they don't know how to react. That uncertainty triggers curiosity. They start wondering, what's changed? Why are you acting differently? Have they lost their grip on you? And that's when they start investing energy into figuring you out. They begin to chase what they once took for granted. Breaking patterns also puts you back in control. You're no longer following the script they expect from you. You're writing a new one on your own terms. And that unpredictability, it's magnetic. People are drawn to those they can't easily figure out because mystery creates desire. When you stop being predictable, you become someone worth chasing. The key here is subtlety. You don't need to make grand gestures or play mind games. Small changes, pulling back a bit, saying no instead of yes, being less available, are enough to shift the dynamic. They'll notice, they'll feel the change, and it will make them question everything they thought they knew about you. That's the power of unpredictability. Affirm it. I know my worth. You don't need to explain your shift or justify your actions. Let them wonder. Let them feel the absence of the old patterns. The people who care will adjust, and those who don't, they'll fall away. Either way, you win. And trust me, they'll notice. They always do. Number 6. Mirror their actions to reveal the truth. People often don't realize the impact of their behavior until they experience it firsthand. They take kindness for granted, overlook effort, and assume that you'll always be there, until suddenly they find themselves on the receiving end of their own actions. That's the power of reflection. When you mirror their behavior back at them, It forces them to confront how they've been treating you. And trust me, that reflection can be brutal. If someone is acting distant, meet them with the same distance. If they're inconsistent, match their inconsistency. Not out of spite or pettiness, but to show them exactly what it feels like. You're not here to beg for respect or chase after attention. You're here to teach them, without a single word, what it's like to be treated the way they've been treating you. That's the beauty of reflection. It's silent, powerful, and undeniable. When you mirror someone's behavior, it shakes them out of their comfort zone. They're used to you being the one who's always there, the one who forgives, the one who goes above and beyond. But when you stop overextending yourself, when you give them exactly what they've been giving you, they feel the difference immediately. It's unsettling. Suddenly, they're left wondering what's changed, and more importantly, why. This shift is subtle, but it's powerful. It forces them to think twice about how they've been treating you. If they've been giving you minimal effort, they'll feel what it's like to receive the same in return. If they've been distant, they'll experience that distance from your side. And that's when it hits them. Your kindness, your attention, and your care were never guaranteed. They were gifts, gifts they've been taking for granted. Reflecting their behavior also puts you back in control. You're no longer reacting emotionally or chasing after explanations. You're simply showing them what it feels like to be on the other side. It's not about being cruel. It's about restoring balance. It's about teaching people that relationships are a two-way street. If they want more from you, they'll have to give more. The best part? You don't need to say a word. The silence speaks for itself. They'll notice the shift, and it will make them uncomfortable. That discomfort will drive them to either step up or step away. And either outcome is a win for you, because the people who truly value you will adjust, while those who don't will fall away. This isn't about playing games or manipulating anyone. It's about standing in your worth and showing people, without words, that you won't settle for less than you deserve. If they can't meet your energy, then they don't belong in your life. Affirm it. I know my worth. You don't need to remind them, justify yourself, or explain your actions. Just reflect. The lesson is in the experience, and trust me, they'll notice. They always do. Number 7, inspire effort. Make them earn you. Here's the truth. People value what they work for. If you've been doing all the heavy lifting in your relationships, making plans, solving problems, and giving your energy freely, you've unintentionally made yourself too easy to take for granted. They don't feel the need to invest in you because you've already done all the work. It's time to change that. If you want to be valued, you have to stop giving everything up front and make them earn their place in your life. When you make people invest in you, something shifts. The dynamic changes. Suddenly, they're the ones putting in effort, trying to get closer, working to earn your time and attention. And the more they invest, the more they value you. Because that's how human psychology works. People care more about what they have to work for and fight to keep. This doesn't mean you start playing games or demanding grand gestures. It's about balance. It's about no longer carrying the full weight of the connection. Stop being the first to text. Stop initiating every conversation or plan. If they care, they'll step up. And if they don't, they weren't meant to stay. Either way, you'll know who's really in your corner. Making them invest is also about setting boundaries, knowing when to say no, and holding back just enough to let them meet you halfway. Don't give all your emotional energy away in one go. Keep some for yourself. Let them wonder about you. Let them work to earn your attention. This creates a sense of value and scarcity that makes every interaction with you feel more meaningful. If they've gotten used to you always being the one to offer support or make sacrifices, pull back a little. Let them fill that gap. When they're forced to step up, they'll begin to understand the value of the effort you used to give so freely. They'll feel what it's like to earn your time, and that's when they start realizing just how much you're worth. This is not about manipulation. It's about creating space for equal effort. When someone invests in you, they become emotionally tied to the relationship. They begin to care more because they've put something of themselves into it. And that's when you stop being just an option and become someone they truly value. It's going to feel strange at first, especially if you're used to giving everything without hesitation. But remember, this isn't selfish, it's necessary. You deserve relationships where the effort is mutual, where your time and energy are met with equal respect. And by making them invest, you ensure that the people in your life are there because they want to be, not because it's easy or convenient. Affirm it. I know my worth. You don't need to chase anyone or beg for their attention. Just step back, hold your ground, and let them meet you at your level. If they care, they will invest. And trust me, they'll notice. They always do. Number 8. Make them feel your absence. People rarely appreciate what they have until it's gone. When you're always available, always reaching out, always filling the space, they get used to it. Your presence becomes background noise, reliable but unnoticed. The only way to remind them of your value is to create space for them to feel your absence. And that's when it hits them. You are not a given, and your attention was never guaranteed. Pulling back isn't about punishing them or playing games. It's about reclaiming your energy and letting them see what life feels like without your constant presence. When you step away, they'll start to notice the little things. The good morning texts you always sent, the emotional support you provided, the way you always showed up. Suddenly, the absence of those small gestures becomes loud, and that's when they realize how much they were taking for granted. Absence creates room for reflection. When you stop filling every silence, they are left alone with their thoughts. And that emptiness, it's unsettling. It forces them to confront what they've lost. They begin to question, why aren't you reaching out? What changed? This discomfort pulls them toward you because now they feel what it's like to miss you. And people chase what they feel slipping away. This isn't about ghosting them or cutting them off. It's about knowing when to step back, when to be less available, and when to stop filling the gaps for them. You don't need to announce your absence or explain it. Just pull your energy back. Let them feel the difference between your presence and your absence. It might feel uncomfortable at first, like you're losing control or pushing them further away. But trust this process. If they care, they'll notice your absence and come looking for you. If they don't, you've created space for someone better to enter your life. Either way, you win. Affirm it. I know my worth. Your absence isn't a punishment, it's a reminder that your time, energy, and presence are gifts, not obligations. And those who truly value you will feel the difference when you're gone. Trust me, they'll notice. They always do. Number 9. You are the hero of your own story. Here's the truth. You are not a supporting character in someone else's life. You are the hero of your own story, and it's time you start living like it. Too often, we place other people at the center of our world, hoping they'll notice, value, or validate us. But the moment you give someone else that power, you lose control of your life. The real transformation begins when you reclaim that power, when you realize that you are the one in charge of your happiness, your worth, and your future. It's not their approval you need, it's your own. You don't have to wait for someone to recognize your value or offer you a place in their life. You are already enough as you are. The only person you need to convince is yourself. The more you live for you, the more magnetic you become. People are drawn to those who know who they are and where they're going. That's the energy of someone who isn't looking for external validation, but is busy living their best life. This doesn't mean you won't have relationships. It means your relationships will be built on mutual respect, not need. You're not here to beg for someone's time or love. You're here to build your life and invite others along for the ride if they can keep up. Affirm it. I know my worth. You are the hero, not the sidekick. You call the shots, set the pace, and decide who gets to stay in your story. Those who value you will rise to meet you. Those who don't will be left behind. And that's okay, because your story is yours to write, and it's only just getting started. Trust me, they'll notice. They always do. Start now. No more waiting, no more excuses. Hit the like button under this video. Reclaim your power. Detach from anyone who doesn't see your worth, and make them feel the absence of your energy. Live your life on your terms. Become scarce. Protect your peace, and reflect their behavior back at them. Stop chasing. Make them invest in you. This is your story, and you are the hero. Affirm it. I know my worth. From here on out, anyone who wants to be part of your life must rise to meet you. Like this content? Take action, subscribe, share this message, and keep building the life you deserve. Your journey starts now.